Nope, don't want it.
Don't want to go there.
Don't want
Too
it.
much paperwork.
Jerry's on vacation, he's gone for 2 weeks, so, but I got
That'll be
his
good
number
enough.
now anyways.
I think it's down
Yeah,
here.
we're still doing the photograph.
And
Yeah.
then the only other thing was that.
I'm gonna hold a campaign rally over
But if the shaving cream don't work, just stop breathing.
If the
That
shaving
don't
cream
work
don't
very
work.
good
Don't last very long.
Now what did you do? Would you quit playing?
I didn't touch it.
Jeez.
It was supposed to cost with them. Now they got it, so.
You must have done something.
Huh.
Yes.
Oh, Pastor Eric tonight,
Good.
going back to get his mask.
I said I was gonna do this with this thing tonight. Sit like this.
Is that one of those things they advertise that's cool, keeps you 30 degrees cooler?
Allegedly. No, this isn't like a gel-filled one.
That one day when it was 99% humidity and 100 degrees, I was thinking, boy, that would feel good. I just can't catch my breath when it's so hot and stuffy.
Friday, Saturday,
Did you, when you asked him to come, did you ask him to make it short?
No.
Have you ever heard any of his sermons?
Yes. All right. Well, call to order the Tracy City Council meeting for Monday, August 10th. If you'd join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Liberty and justice for all. Remain standing. Pastor Eric.
Gracious Lord God, we thank you for the day. We thank you for all those who are called to be leaders in this community. We pray, God, that you would give us wisdom in things we speak of and decisions that are made. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nice job.
Did you want it longer?
Next time.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions?
I'll make a motion to approve it as written.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Not time for the public hearing yet. Is there anybody from the public that would like to make a public comment before we start with the meeting? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to the Wellhead Protection Plan presentation with Amanda Stromer.
Hang on, Mayor. Amanda, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I'm going to put you a little bit differently here so that at least the volume is their direction. I don't know why this is not coming through the TV, but that's okay. All right.
So, hi, good evening. My name is Amanda Strummer, and I'm a planner with the Minnesota Department of Health Drinking Water Protection Program. And I've been working with the city's staff there on your plan. And usually about halfway through the plan process, we like to have a public information meeting where we bring the information to the council and anyone else from the public to just let everyone know and update where things are at. And so I'll just check in. Can you hear me okay in the room, or is it volume okay?
Better now.
Yep, I turned up the volume on you.
Okay, I can speak up too. I can speak loud. But yes, the whole goal of this meeting is just to provide, a touch point halfway through the planning process to let you all know where you're at in developing your wellhead protection plan. The whole goal of the wellhead protection program is to prevent contamination from getting into your groundwater supply well. It is a rule that all, water suppliers that serve water to public through protection. Our law lays out, how we do that. And so you have completed, the health department has completed the first part of your plan process for the city. And it just gives a summary of your wells, how much they're pumping, the groundwater flow direction, and a lot of information went into a groundwater model that basically resulted in this map being developed. And if you have been able to see this map, it's called your Drinking Water Supply Management Area and Vulnerability. That is kind of one of the main things that came out of all of that information. And so this becomes your priority protection area for your city wells. So on the map itself, it shows, the location of the city wells. There is a 1 year red circle around that. That is your 1 year time of travel. So the groundwater model predicted if there was a spill or contamination got into the aquifer, it could move towards the wells within about a year. The blue line on the map is a 10-year modeled time of travel, so a capture area moving horizontally, underneath the ground. And because that line doesn't follow any roads or parcels, we project that up on the land surface, and then the yellow border is your drinking water supply management area. So that again follows roads or parcels so that you can easily see which properties are inside your drinking water supply management area and what's outside of that. And so the main thing that this also tells us is your vulnerability, so how susceptible your wells are to being contaminated from things at the land surface. And you have a low vulnerability. And so that's a really good thing. Your wells are deep. You have, good water quality in terms of you don't have nitrates or anything else that's getting from the surface down into your deeper wells. And that's what we want to have. You have a great situation there, and the goal is to keep it that way so that you continue to have a good supply of good quality water. And so the low vulnerability means that as you go forward in your planning process, you're really only looking for other wells that may be unused and unsealed in this green shaded area. Because if those are, old wells, just unused, they could be direct conduits from the surface down into your aquifer where your water is being pulled from. So we can help provide grant funding and other resources to help seal any wells that might be in that area. We do have grant funding for any community that writes their second part of their plan and has an implementation plan. There's up to $10,000 grants with no cost share required. So if it's something that fits within your wellhead protection plan, protects the source of your water, you can get up to $10,000 per grant item. So you can get multiple grants, after you close a grant out, apply again. But to, do any implementation once this next part of the plan is written and approved. We have other grant funds. If there's something that's a higher cost, we have some competitive grants that would be up to $10,000, but the city would have a 50-50 match for that. So sometimes cities have gotten generators or done some electrical wiring, and so those can maybe cost more. So we've encouraged them to use, whatever grant funds work the best. And so I'll be working closely with the city staff as we go through this process to identify if there's any needs like that you guys have. But the next phase, and I have already talked with the city staff about starting the phase 2, the part 2 of the wellhead protection plan, where you look for those potential contaminant sources and you develop an action plan. We also make sure you have contingency planning, so if there is a natural disaster or something like that, you're prepared to. And then the last step is implementation. And so that's kind of in a nutshell where you're at. You're about halfway through the process. And we provide, a lot of technical assistance to help through that. But for a community of your size, I'm only able to write plans for cities of 500 or less. So we usually encourage you to, work with a consultant or someone that has written these plans in the past that can help you, with that process of writing the Part 2 plan. So with that, it's usually an opportunity if you have questions about anything. I'm happy to answer anything.
Questions for City Council?
Anybody have any questions for Amanda?
Mayor, if I may just add, Shane has already reached out to our engineer ISG to get a quote on what it would take to do what Amanda is suggesting on the next phase. We're probably going to go get another one or two, as well. Costs a little more than we thought it might, but I wanted to just let you know that we're working with Amanda and moving forward with this. This is a mandated thing that we have to do, to make sure that our water is clean, and so that's what this is about. And this public meeting that Amanda gave the presentation for in front of you is also part of the process that's also mandated. So that's ultimately why we are here. But just to add that, a little bit of context for you as well. Amanda, do you have anything else that you want to add?
No, I don't. My only other comment was just you do have until May of 2022, and so you have a fair amount of time to work on this second part. The sooner you get done, the sooner you can apply for those grants that we have. We've had a lot of communities really love the ability to take advantage of those, but you have quite a bit of time to do this. So if there's a lot of things going on, we understand that, and we know you'll get to it as you are able.
Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Well, thank you, and definitely reach out if you think of questions. Eric has my contact information, Shane does too, so just let me know if you have any questions that you think of along the way.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we still got a couple minutes before the 6:45. I entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to approve the July 27th minutes and the work session minutes, the municipal accounts payable without breakthrough beverage, the planning commission minutes from June 15th and July 6th, and the library minutes from March 5th. Second that?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I didn't see anything to Sanford in that register, so we'll just leave that out. Before I forget it, I'd also entertain a motion to go to a closed session at the end of the meeting to discuss possible legal issues.
I'll make that.
We've got a motion and a second to go into closed session to discuss litigation issues. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And it's 6:45. We're going to call a public hearing on ordinance changing the city code regarding electric fences. So you have that resolution in your package. Use that as just simply adding a line, item number 7, in our current ordinance to basically ban electric or charged fences, so. And the planning commission, what was it here? Yeah, would be Eric's. It's a recommendation to approve the ordinance above amendment to the city charter, so at that time I'll open up the public portion of the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address this issue? Hearing none and seeing none, I'll close the public portion and refer it back to the council for action.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2020-48, the ordinance changing the city code for electric fences.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We'll call the vote.
Landay?
Aye.
Tell.
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Teigs?
Aye.
Mayor Peterson?
Aye. Motion carries. It'll be 30 days before that goes into effect. or-
Is there any electric fences out there now?
There was one, yes,
Okay.
that we were aware of.
So will they be notified now of the change?
I'm sure Shane can, yeah. We already told them that as we interpret the code as it exists today, that we didn't think that their electric fence was legal. This is really just a way to make that even more clear.
All right. Moving on then, Mayor Council Communications. I'd like to apologize for missing National Night Out. Thank the boys in blue for setting that up. I was wrestling with a wireless router that was fried. Next thing I knew, it was 8:30. So I've heard nothing but positive comments about it, and I'd like to thank them for having it. It was a unique situation. So, and the same thing with the cleanup. I missed because I was working. So
How'd that go,
Oh, it was
Jerry?
fun.
yeah.
How'd it go, Jerry?
I was at an appointment, so I couldn't make it.
We didn't get rained on this year, it just rained before it.
So it was a big turnout?
About average, I think.
There's just a lot of stuff not sitting around town or in houses anymore, which is the good part of it.
That's the purpose, so.
Yep.
Yep.
Anything else under Mayor Council?
Did the Boy Scouts help?
Yep. Moving on to that with the new business, the city administrator's update on the cleanup day and recognitions, and so I turn it over to you, Eric.
Mayor, yes, to answer your question, council member, yes, there were 2 Boy Scouts there. We're going to send them a certificate of appreciation for helping us out during that day. Connor Town and Owen Elson were there. I think they were there the whole day, weren't they, Diane? We originally had to cancel this because we had a stay-at-home order in May, and then we came back and was able to do it, under the regulations, since people are, dropping things off and with their vehicles anyway. It's kind of a drive-through event, so it worked out pretty well. I don't know if Shane and or Diane want to update, because you were both there, in terms of how many people we had and how much trash we picked up.
Well, we had 94 people come through with loads. A couple came through more than once. And then we had about 10 people that did not have a fee to pay for the items that they dropped off. So it was roughly around 100 people that came through that day. And want to thank Dave for his help that day. He was awesome.
And Shane, I think we had like a 2.5, how much did we, in terms of volume, how much did we pick up ultimately?
So we ended up with, the dumpsters are 30 yards or level full. There's about 85 yards of debris. The dumpster materials, and we had about roughly 4 cubic yards of tires that we hauled away. Couple dozen fluorescent tubes. I want to say about 30 to 35 mattresses. What else did we have out there? Appliances, I don't know, Diane, if you had a count on those. I know you had the
I have the spreadsheet.
spreadsheet.
There was quite a few appliances that came through and furniture and.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure exactly on the count of appliances, but there's a lot of couches and chairs, and some of them are pretty wet too, so we're hoping they were in a yard somewhere where they're not anymore, so.
So overall, we think it was a successful event, and we look forward to doing it again next year. I'd love to have a discussion about, come budget time, is that something we want to continue doing? Do we want to expand it? There's other ways that you can do it. I know some people do different curbside pickups, and that's been controversial in some communities, but it was good to have it. Good to have it. So thank you, Mayor. That's all we want to say about the citywide cleanup, and good event. Thanks for.
Thank everybody that helped with that, and especially those youngsters from the Boy Scouts.
So the next item is just a fairly routine, waiver of fee to use the VMC for the blood drive. I'd asked Diane, how do they do this in the time of COVID? But apparently there's a way to socially distance and mask up and do all those kinds of things. I do know that because of people's concerns about getting out, that our blood supplies have gotten lower, and so this is kind of an important event. And so with that, Mayor, we would like to ask that you waive the fee for the use of the VMC for the blood drive. And this is for the American Red Cross, right?
What's the
Yeah.
date?
What's the date?
It's on the resolution.
3 days.
There's three:
There's 3 dates, yeah.
Oh,
October 2nd, December 8th, and February 22nd of next year.
Yep.
This will not conflict if the school needs
Yeah,
to use
that's-
these?
It will conflict if the school needs to use space. I've talked to, and we won't know that because they're meeting about that right now, as a matter of fact. But we anticipate that it's possible that they may want to use some of our space in the city for classrooms. And I've already told Chad Anderson that there's some potential conflicts. One of them is the election that we have to have in the VMC. And the other one of these is these blood drives. And what he said to me is, he says, I understand that. What we would do on those days is they would have an online day at home, basically, is what it amounts to. So we'll work with the school on that. I'm going to have to bring back also to the city council. I couldn't do it tonight because I didn't know what they were going to do. But a fee waiver for the school also. I think that's a good idea in the context in terms of supporting the community. We don't really get very much money for these things anyway, and so from my perspective, we're not really conflicting with anything, and so we'll put that on the next agenda, assuming that the school board decides to do what they think they're going to do tonight.
Would some of this, let's just say, lost revenue be something that we could apply for with the COVID money?
Yeah, I think potentially is the short answer. That's been a bit of a moving target a little bit because lost revenue is something that people have interpreted in a couple different ways. At first I heard it's only businesses that lost revenue and not governments. So we couldn't apply because of lost revenue, and then I heard, well, maybe nobody can apply because of lost revenue. So that piece has been a moving target, but if it qualifies, yes, potentially.
I'll make a motion that to approve Resolution 2020-47 to waive the fee for the use of the VMC for the 3 days for the blood drive.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Call the vote.
Howell?
Aye.
Van Dyke.
aye.
Teigs.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Mayor Peterson.
Aye.
The last item is just a call for a public hearing, but just to remind you what this is about is that we'll have a public hearing in a couple of weeks to review the new planning commission ordinance. You know, as you know, we hadn't updated that since 1965. And so we took the League of Minnesota Cities model ordinance and we put it in front of the planning commission last week. Councilmember Shones was there and just had a few kind of little minor tweaks that they're recommending, and we'll bring that for action then in 2 weeks. So it's just a motion to call for a public hearing for ordinance 73.
We need to waive the first reading for the, yep, so.
So I'll make a motion to call the public hearing for ordinance number 73, duties of the City Planning Commission, for 6:45 on the 24th. It'll be ready to roll. And then we'll waive the first reading.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We'll call the vote.
Hal,
Aye.
Teigs,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Landite,
Aye.
Mayor Peterson.
Aye. Public hearing will be set for the 24th at 6:45 to amend ordinance number 73. Anything else before we go into closed session? Okay. I entertain a motion to close the public portion.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead, Jerry.